Good morning. Welcome to the original TV pro wrestling. So I have shared a short video in my debut of the original TV pro wrestling, and I went on to play a couple more to make sure I was doing it right. Did a tag team match, and I have quickly fallen in love with this simple game. Again, this is probably not the best wrestling game on the planet. It's not the deepest wrestling game on the planet, but wow, I can't say enough about this simple wrestling game. Absolutely fell in love. So inspired that I've created a 16 universe of 16 wrestlers set in my Big Country universe from my Big Country games. Of course, it's TV wrestling, but I've got, of course, 1948, so it's radio wrestling. 1948, Battle for the Belt. This is the Big Country Wrestling Association Invitational. They invite 16 wrestlers from all over the region and all the 4 different territories to join a league, and they will wrestle for a season to determine who wins the Big Country Wrestling Association belt and will be guaranteed an invite back next year. A lot of these wrestlers will probably get invites back, but the champion is guaranteed to come back for next season to defend their belt as champions. So that is how I set it up. So inspired, I created a little league booklet. The 1948 Big Country Wrestling Association, founded in 1948. 1948, it is carried on BC radio, Big Country radio stations all across the region, as well as, of course, you can get tickets for Friday and Saturday night wrestling events. Every weekend, they'll be in a different town in my Big Country universe. So weekend 1, we're in Coaldale, and there will be 4 matches on Friday night and 4 matches on Saturday night. So the BCW will travel around the Big Country region, and every week of the year, every week of the season, they'll be in a different town, and it will be Friday and Saturday night events. The wrestlers were pooled based on territory. So we have the Western Territory Pool A, we have the Northern Territory Pool B, we have the Southern Territory Pool C, and the Eastern Territory Pool D. In Pool A is Joe Bullets Asher, Tugger O'Shea, Tiny Little, and Paul McDaniels. They're the 4 wrestlers that are in the Western. They represent the Western Territory, which are cities in the west of the Big Country region. The Northern Territory representatives are Antonio DeMarco, Colton Jones, Mark Winslow, and Fuzzy Watkins. That's Pool B. Southern Territory invites Stony Mountain, Mike Toller, Randall Morris, and Victor Beans. And Eastern Territory invites were Jack Johnson, R.R. Jack Johnson, Leatherneck, John Shane, and Carl Farmer. Of course, I created all these guys. John Shane is from Coaldale. He's 6'2", 240 pounds. He's a former miner. Shane is strong, has endurance, and wears a miner's helmet and lamp into every pre-match introduction to represent the miners. So you can imagine this weekend, Joel Shane. Those tickets will be standing room only for Shane's. Matter of fact, when is his appearance this weekend? Shane appears in Coaldale for the opening weekend. Shane, where is he? Oh, he's the very last match of Saturday night, so that'll be a no-limit match. Wow, that's pretty funny how my schedule worked out. So I literally scheduled every bout of the season, and week 1 in Coaldale on Saturday night. Shane, I didn't even notice that. Shane from Coaldale will face McDaniels on the final wrestling match of the weekend. So that's very cool. Colton Jones from Grand Bay, 6 foot, 225 pounds. Jones is a fan favorite, and he's an acrobatic and dynamic wrestler. He's a tag team. He tag teams well because he's so acrobatic. That's Colton Jones. Joe Bullets Asher from Paradise City, 6'4", 255 pounds. Joey survived a gangster drive-by as a young newsie in Paradise City, hence his nickname Bullets, a tough man, a favorite to win it all. So you can imagine when he was a young boy, selling newspapers on the street corner, happened to be caught in a gangster drive-by in which he survived, and he has grown up to be a 6'4", 255-pound Western Territories champ. Mike Towler from Fort Jefferson, 6'2", 230 pounds. Towler wears Army surplus uniform and represents Fort Jefferson's military. He's quick and mobile, a great tag team partner. I will probably use a tag team to determine the finals. So the wrestlers that win their pool will then get first choice of the two losers. There'll be four wrestlers in each pool. There'll be a top wrestler, the second wrestler, and those two, the top wrestler will get his choice of the first two losers to tag team with for their playoff, basically, and the second wrestler will get the leftover. And that'll be a tag team match to determine which of those top two wrestlers will wrestle for the championship belt. So they're going to be dependent on their partner to get to the championship belt, right? So it's going to be very cool. All the wrestlers will be involved. The playoffs will actually involve all four wrestlers, but as a tag team partner, right? So that you can imagine somebody that you're really not, it's one of those things where I've won the pool, I've beaten all the wrestlers, and now I've got to pick from the two losers which one I'd like to work with to beat. And you got to pick a guy you can trust or a guy you hope. So it's going to create a dynamism. It's very cool. All right, Randall Morris is from Unionville, 6'1", 220 pounds. Morris is lean and mean. He hates Mark Winslow. Some rumor about his now ex-wife or some such issue. So Randall Morris has an issue with Winslow, who maybe seduced his former wife. Carl Farmer, Porter Bay, Rock Island, 6'5", 275 pounds. He's a big man. Carl was a final invite. He's agile for a big man, but is a bleeder, a long shot to win the BCWA belt. So a big man, you got to invite a big guy who can put on a show, but he was the last invite and not predicted to do much damage here in the first season of the BCWA. Mark Winslow, Central City, 6'3", 265 pounds. Winslow is built like a brick shithouse. He plays up the rumors that he's a lady stealer, not well liked by the other wrestlers or by the fans in general. Tugger O'Shea, Springfield, he's 6', 245 pounds. A knee injury ended Tugger's football career. His size and athleticism makes him a tough match, another favorite to win it all. Victor Beans from Unionville, 6'2", 235. Beans is a rookie, a jobber, a tumbler. No one knows or cares about Beans, a long shot. So Beans is literally kind of a nobody. Nobody really knows anything about. Antonio DeMarco from Grand Bay, 6'6", 265 pounds. Northern Territory champ, fan favorite, and a favorite to win the first BCWA belt, a wrestler wrecker. So Antonio DeMarco is the man. Paul McDaniels from Bayside, 6'1", 240 pounds, a vet, makes great show, but somehow hasn't pulled through to stardom. This might be his chance to become a star. Stony Mountain from Fort Jefferson, 6'7", 345 pounds. The giant mountain of a man, current Southern Territories champ. He is an internationally well-known fan favorite. So a man at 6'7", 345 pounds, one of the biggest men in 1948 pro wrestling. This guy is a star and is well-known internationally. Stony Mountain. Leatherneck, Rock Island, 6'4", 280. Leatherneck wears a black leather hood and rarely speaks, but he points and makes death gestures to his opponents while in the ring. So you can imagine he's crossing his neck with his finger, etc., as he points them out as the bringer of death. Leatherneck, unfortunately, he doesn't say much, and he's hooded, so you don't know what he looks like. Jack Jackson of Coaldale. Here's another guy who'll be a fan favorite for the opening weekend in Coaldale. Jackson's first debut match. Jackson is the second to the last. How about that? So both Coaldale guys are going last and second to last, and he's facing Tiny Little. Is Jack Jackson. That's going to be fascinating because Jack Jackson is tall and skinny, and Tiny Little is the smallest man in this season tournament. So Jack Jackson of Coaldale, 6'5", 209 pounds. He's the thinnest. Former basketball star, Jackson is quick, elusive, and a high flyer. He is a favorite to win as Eastern Territory champ. So remember, all of these wrestlers were invited into the BCWA for a season of wrestling in which they will carry away a grand prize pool of money and the belt, and then they'll be automatically guaranteed an opportunity to come back next year as the belt holder to defend their title. And so there's 4 territories. There are 4 champions that have been invited into this epic tournament. Tiny Little of Paradise City, 5'9", 225 pounds, the smallest man in pro wrestling, but a dangerous opponent. Here's a chance for him to become a champion of champions, a fan favorite. Fuzzy Watkins from Middletown, 6'2", 250. Fuzzy is dull, but a tough wrestler. Boring is the best one could say about him coming into this league. Now, that doesn't mean he'll stay boring. He might be inspired by the competition and by the purse. They'll get paid, of course, a piece of the gate for every weekend, but it's that grand prize pool of money. For 1948's $2,500 in season 1. And, of course, they'll become the first BCWA champion and title belt holder. So there are our 16 wrestlers for the Big Country Wrestling 1948 Battle for the Belt. The Battle 1 is right here. I'm going to stop this video. This will be an introduction to the Big Country Wrestling setup I've done. I will come back and we will do Coldell Friday night, the first match.